Chunk 1. The Promotion.
You don't ask to become Capo. You're told. No ceremony, no applause, no handshake in front of the crew. Carmine just looks at you across the table, that small back room at the social club, the one that smells like espresso and old wood, and he says your name once, like a period at the end of a sentence. Sit down. You sit. He doesn't explain what you did to earn it. You already know. 3 years of collections without a single complaint. 2 situations you handled quietly, completely, without being asked twice. 1 night where everything went wrong, and you were the only one who kept your head. That's the resume. Nobody reads it out loud. He slides a piece of paper across the table. 4 names. Your 4 names. Soldiers who now answer to you. Then he tells you the territory. Brooklyn, Canarsie to Red Hook. Yours. You fold the paper, put it in your jacket pocket. You don't smile, because men who've been waiting for this moment their whole lives smile. You're not that man anymore. You stand up. You shake his hand. You walk out into the afternoon like nothing happened. But everything happened. You don't work for the family anymore. The family works under you.
Chunk 2. Running the Crew.
The first week is quiet, deliberate. You meet your 4 men one at a time, not together, one at a time, because you want to see how each of them sits in a room without the others, what they do with their hands, whether they look at you or past you. The collections start immediately. Tuesday is restaurants. Thursday is construction. Friday is the numbers runners, the card games, the after-hours rooms that technically don't exist. $50,000 a week flows through your hands. You take your cut, the boss takes his, your soldiers take theirs. What's left funds the next week, the next favor, the next problem that gets solved before it becomes a problem. On paper, you're a real estate consultant. You have business cards, you attend meetings, you shake hands with men in suits who know exactly what you are and pretend they don't. This is the job now. Not the running, not the standing outside in the cold, not the muscle work you did when you had something to prove. Now you authorize. A shop owner on Atlantic Avenue is 3 weeks behind. One of your soldiers, Marco, youngest of the 4, eager in a way that makes you cautious, he comes to you with that look, the look that says he wants permission to make noise. You tell him to wait. You tell him to give it another week, because you already understand something Marco doesn't yet. You don't commit violence anymore. You authorize it. And the difference between those 2 things is everything.
Chunk 3. The Invisible Hand.
6 months in, you barely leave the dinner table to make things happen. A contractor in Bensonhurst wants to bid on a city project. $3 million in development, good money, legitimate work. He calls his union rep. His union rep calls someone. That someone calls you. 2 days later, the contractor's competition has a licensing issue they can't explain. It disappears as fast as it appeared. The bid is won. You never met the contractor. You never touched a file. A warehouse property in Red Hook, someone's trying to sell it to an outside developer, someone who doesn't understand how business works in this part of Brooklyn. The sale falls through. Financing issues. The property sits. Eventually, it gets sold to the right buyer for the right price, and a small percentage of that transaction finds its way to you through 3 different handshakes. You never touch the property. One afternoon, a site foreman calls a supervisor because someone's been moving equipment at night on his job site. Equipment going missing. Minor things, enough to slow the job by weeks. He's frustrated, angry. He calls the owner. The owner knows better than to call the police. He calls a number, and that number leads back, eventually, quietly, to you. The equipment stops disappearing. The foreman never knows why. Your fingerprints are nowhere. Your influence is everywhere. This is power in its purest form, not the power of someone who can hurt you, the power of someone who controls what happens to you, and you never even see it coming.
Chunk 4. Above the Law.
A city councilman owes you. Not in the dramatic way, in the quiet way. A campaign fundraiser 2 years ago. envelopes that pass through enough hands that nothing connects back. He remembers. Men like him always remember. You call him twice a year, no more than twice. You're not greedy with favors. Greedy men get caught. A judge in the borough court has a son with a habit. That habit was managed quietly by people connected to you. The judge doesn't know the specifics. He suspects. He's grateful in the way that frightened people are grateful. Completely, silently, forever. The precinct captain on the south side of the territory grew up 3 blocks from where you grew up. You went to the same school. You don't discuss business. You play cards once a month with mutual friends. He has a good pension coming. You have an interest in him reaching it comfortably. Nobody breaks laws anymore. You bend them. This is what above the law actually means. Not that rules don't apply. It's that rules are infrastructure, and infrastructure, like everything else, can be managed by the right people.
Chunk 5. Fear is quiet.
If you think being a capo means you're safe, you're not. But we'll get there. The shop owner on Atlantic Avenue. 3 weeks became 5. Marco's getting restless. Your other men are watching to see what you do. This is the moment that defines what kind of leader you are. You go yourself. No Marco, no backup, just you, a Thursday afternoon, a suit that cost more than the man's monthly rent. You walk in. The shop smells like bread and cheap candles. The owner is behind the counter. He sees you. The color changes in his face. You sit down at one of his small tables like you're a customer. You ask for an espresso. He brings it with shaking hands. You drink it. You compliment it. You talk about the neighborhood, how much it's changing, how hard it is for small businesses. You stand up. You say thank you. You leave. That's all. The next morning, the full payment, 5 weeks plus a little extra, is dropped at Marco's apartment in a paper bag. Your men see this. They understand something now that can't be taught from a speech. Violence is loud. Fear is quiet. And a quiet room lasts longer than a broken window.
Chunk 6. The life.
You have a tailor now, not a store, a man who comes to you. You eat in rooms that aren't on any menu. Private dining, the right table, the one near the back where you can see the door. Restaurants where the owner greets you at the entrance, where the table is ready before you call. Your mother is in a better house now. Quieter block, garden in the back. She doesn't ask where the money comes from. She stopped asking years ago. You see her every Sunday. She looks at you the way she used to look at your father, like she's proud and scared at the same time, and doesn't know which feeling to trust. You understand that look now. When you walk into a room, people stand, not dramatically, subtly, a straightening of the spine, a nod. Conversations pause for half a second, just long enough to acknowledge that something has changed in the air. For the first time in your life, nobody overlooks you. You remember being invisible. You remember being the man who waited outside, who drove, who carried things, who got the call last. That man is gone.
Chunk 7. The cracks.
But something shifts, slowly. So slowly you almost miss it. Marco's collections are coming up short. Not much. 400 here, 250 there. Small enough to be a math error. Consistent enough to be a choice. One of your other men, Danny, the quietest one, the one you trusted most. You overhear him at the social club talking to someone from another crew. Nothing specific, just talking, just laughing. Too comfortable. At your last meeting with Carmine, he was on the phone when you arrived. He finished the call before you sat down. But something in the way he looked at you when you walked in, something wasn't warm. You tell yourself you're reading into it. You tell yourself you're tired. But the thing about this life is that your instincts kept you alive before your mind could process anything. And right now, your instincts are very, very quiet in a way that feels loud. Respect feels different when you start wondering if it's real.
Chunk 8. The first threat.
A shipment goes missing on the Red Hook side. Not a small one. Nobody knows anything. Or everyone knows something and nobody's talking, which is worse. A week later, police show up at one of your warehouses. Not a raid, just a visit. Questions about a vehicle. Routine, they say. But nobody told them about that vehicle through routine channels. Someone talked. You don't know who. You sit with that. You think through every person who knew about that warehouse. You narrow it down. You narrow it down more. The list stays longer than it should. You start counting enemies. Then you start counting friends. The second list is shorter.
Chunk 9, Paranoia.
You start checking your car before you get in. You change your route home 3 times this week. Different streets, different times, different patterns, just in case. The gun that used to stay in the nightstand drawer, it's closer now. You test Marco. You give him false information about a pickup location, a small thing, low stakes. You wait to see if it moves. It moves. You sit with that information for 4 days before you decide what to do with it. You trust nobody completely, not even the men you chose yourself. This is the part nobody tells you about. The movies show the suits and the restaurants and the table. They don't show you this, sitting in a parked car in the rain and midnight because you don't trust your own apartment, because you don't know who drove past it tonight and whether it was coincidence. The higher you climb, the more visible you become, and visibility in this world is a kind of danger. When you're above the law, the only thing left to fear is the people under you.
The Midnight Call.
It's late, past midnight. Your phone buzzes. Carmine's number. You stare at it for 3 full seconds before you answer. He tells you to come in, tonight, the social club. You ask if everything's okay. He says, just come. You dress slowly. You check the street from the window before you open the door. You take a different route than usual. You arrive, and the club is quieter than it should be for this hour. 2 men you don't recognize stand you the back. Carmine is at the table. He looks at you. He says, "We need to talk about your crew." The room is warm, but you feel cold. You sit down. You keep your face completely still. Because you're Capo, and whatever is about to happen next, you will not let him see your hands shake. You wanted power. You have it. Now you have to survive it. If you want to see what happens next, what you say in that room, whether you walk out, that's the next video. Drop a comment if you think you make it out of that chair. Subscribe if you want to know how this story ends. Because in this world, not everyone does.